There are two sides to Rainbow Six Siege, attacking and defending. This video is going to be about attacking, which I think is the harder of the two sides. Getting into it first, I'm going to talk about the different operators and what they do, like the different styles of operators that there is for attackers. Starting with reinforced destruction operators, these operators can break through the reinforced barricades that the defenders place, and they're oftentimes very important because there are only two in the game. And in some sites, it can be very difficult to break in if you can't break any reinforced barricades, such as the garage sites on various maps. If you can't break through the garage and like at least force the defenders to consider that as an option of attack, then it can be very hard to break into these sites. Next, we have Gadget Destruction, and those two operators are Thermite and Habana. Thermite can place 2 thermite charges that break, and Habana can shoot 3 little packets of pellets that equal 1 like full destruction of a reinforced thing. So Thermite is a little better, but Habana can do it at range. Next we have Gadget Destruction operators. This is Thatcher, Twitch, IQ, and IQ, kind of. IQ can find electronics, you can't really disable them, but she can find them, and that can be good enough at times. Thatcher and Twitch are both really good at destroying the gadgets that the enemy team might use to deter your team from breaking in, such as bandits, batteries, or mute jammers. These can outright stop Thermite and Habana from being able to do their job, and Thatcher and Twitch can quickly destroy them. Thatcher is better in my opinion, just because you can just throw the grenade at the garage door, even if you're outside, for example, and you can destroy their gadgets because it has like a radius effect to those EMP grenades. Twitch's drone, you have to drive in there and shoot it, and at times if the enemy team is playing right, or if they have the I guess you could say correctly placed mute jammers, then it can be very hard for Twitch's drone to get in there and do the job. So I would say Thatcher is a better choice for this pick, but Twitch does have a better weapon. Next we have Environmental Destruction. These operators are really good at breaking through like normal walls, trapdoors, floors, anything you name it. This is Sledge, Ash, and Buck. They all do the same job pretty well. They can also all take out the castle barricades pretty well, so they're good at that. These operators are just good. You might want a few of them on your team. They just get the job done. They're not bad. Next we have operators that are really designed just to get kills or like for extra utility. Didn't know really what I wanted to name this classification, but in this I have operators like Glaz, Fuse, Capital, Blackbeard, and Jackal. Jackal is really good at countering roamers. Blackbeard is really good at like taking windows duels because he has his face mask, shield thing on his gun. He's also pretty good in combination with shielders, which we'll get to later. Fuse and Capital are both really good at flushing defenders out of certain positions. You can use Capital's poison dart to flush them out of cover, or you can just fuse the room and do a lot of damage to everybody within it if they do not have any Jaeger devices up at the time. And then Glaz is obviously a sniper. His thermal scope can see through smokes at the moment, and he's really good. He really can punish the defenders if they don't play like properly. You really can just make them very paranoid. I really think Glaz is one of the best operators in the game at the moment. There's just so much you could do with him, and he provides so much utility to the team. And finally we have shielders. These are generally support players in my opinion. Fuse can have a shield, but the 2 dedicated shielders are Blitz and Montagne. And like I said, these are better used for like supporting characters, usually just to draw fire or attention while someone else works with them to clean them up. In addition to their main gadget, there are also secondary gadgets such as breaching charges, claymores, frags, stun grenades, and smokes. You really just want to fill whatever your team needs. These are generally just used for supporting measures, like maybe your team needs flashbangs to go into the site, maybe you need smokes. I would really just, kind of depends on the map and preference of playstyle. None of these are really too important, but like they are important in the sense that you want to have a balanced team. Not everybody needs to have smokes, not everybody needs to have frags. You want a good balance of who has what. And that brings me to my next point with the operators, and that is to pick what your team composition needs. If you see that everybody has some gadget destruction, but you don't see anybody that can destroy reinforced barricades, you should probably pick Thermite or Habana. Similarly, if you have both Thermite and Habana, but no gadget destruction, you probably want to pick Thatcher. I usually just wait to see what the team needs and then fill the gap. Too much of one thing really isn't going to work out. Like I said before, you really want a balanced team. You want to be able to tackle all the obstacles, and you really want to be able to counter whatever the defenders have set up for you. Next, we're going to go over some quick assumptions that people can make that will positively get them killed, and that is that when they're outside the building, they think they're safe. You're not. They can break windows and shoot you. They can run outside and shoot you. You're never safe. Always be on your toes and always be prepared for a gunfight. Secondly, some people who are newer may also just assume all the defenders sit in the site. This is not true. A lot of people roam around the map, as it were, and try to pick off defenders, attackers flanking, getting rotations, cutoffs, etc. Like, you really just have to be on your toes at all times. Like I said, see what your teammates are watching, watch the flank. You want to be as reactionary as possible, or be able to react as much as possible. Which will bring me to my next point, is you want to be able to trade. You want to spread out and attack the site, like everybody attacking from the same position is not a good idea. But you have to be in position to trade with your teammates, especially with Kavira running around. She can interrogate a downed attacker and reveal all the other attackers' positions. So if you don't have any trade potential, meaning like you're not close enough to each other to be able to like kill the enemy that kills them, Kavira can interrogate and then like basically end the round. It's very hard to win the round if you're an attacker once that interrogation has happened, unless it's very early on in the round and you guys are all like outside still. But yeah, you really want to have trade potential. Untraded kills are the easiest way to lose the game, but trading kills just keeps the odds even. I think trading kills does favor the attackers. For like a one-on-one between, like a one-on-one, I would say generally favors the attacker rather than the defender, because there's so many things that the defender has to watch, whereas the attacker generally kind of knows the spots that defenders like to play in whatever site that it is. So yeah, I would say trading is a very big important thing of this game if you're an attacker or defender. Just regardless, you want to be able to trade kills. I didn't mention this before, but you do have a second drone that you can use after the drone phase, and if your original drone is not killed during the drone phase, then you can still use it throughout the round. You really want to use this second drone to scout ahead once you're already in the building, I think, but you want to have teammates that are able to cover you. You want to work with each other and cover off various entrance points into a room while you drone and scout ahead. That way you're not caught off guard by roamers. Droning the area out is the #1 way to destroy roamers, in my opinion. That and Jackal, I think he's called. But yeah, drones and Jackal really just shut down roamers, and it really just forces them to like cuts off where they could be playing if you drone it out. So yeah, you really want to drone out the area if you think that people are roaming. And just in general, if you have the time for it and you have a teammate that can cover you, I think it's like an effective way to drone out the area. My second biggest tip, aside from being able to trade kills, is to play at the pace of your team. Some people play too fast and some people play too slow. Both of these are bad options. You want to be with your team and at the same pace. If everybody dies and you're left last alive, and like a 5v1 for example, you're very unlikely to win that, and that you probably would have been better off playing with your team because you could have been getting trade kills. You maybe could have got off, maybe a flanker killed them all, you could have killed that flanker. It's just best to play at the pace, or as close to possible to the pace of your team. Hit the site at the same time. It's very chaotic for the defenders rather than like several operators coming in one at a time. That's very ineffective. So yeah, you definitely want to play at the pace of your team. It's not very hard to like do this. You have wall hacks basically for your teammates. So yeah, it's very easy to see when they're pressing in on the other site and when you should apply pressure to your side. This final tip isn't really attacking specific or even siege specific. It works in every FPS, and this is just how you take corners. I'm going to put some gameplay on. This is going to be like specific gameplay to this point, but I'm going to put it on screen now. You see this is improper cornering. You just run around the corner, you expose yourself at the same time, exposing yourself to all the angles, and you haven't really checked any of them. And this is going to be proper cornering. As you see, I'm like peeking around the corner and checking off angles as I approach them, rather than exposing myself to everything at once. I'm limiting the angles I'm exposed to and checking them off before I expose myself to more angles. In Siege, since the time to kill is really high, you could die in one hit obviously, or the time to kill is really low, you could die in one hit obviously. You really want to take your corners properly and be careful. This may seem kind of strange to do at first if you're not accustomed to it, but once you get used to good cornering, it's just going to become second nature, and you're automatically going to approach corners like this, and you're going to be able to win a lot more battles just because that's the only angle you're exposed to at the time. Like you're only exposed to one, so you're less likely to get picked off. So yeah, to go over what we talked about in this video, there's different categories of attackers. Pick what your team needs. Stick with your team so that you can trade kills. Drone for more information. And finally, you need to go at the pace of your team and take proper cornering tactics. Like I said before, going at too slow or too fast is not good. They're both equally detrimental in my opinion. A lot of people play too slow and then act like they're playing well just because they are playing too slow, and that really irritates me, because a team all playing at the same pace is much better than each individual doing its own thing. And you could do this even without communicating, because there is like the outlines that you could see on your teammates that really just make it easy to work together even without talking. So yeah. Thanks for watching this video. If you did enjoyed it, please leave a like and a comment. I'm going to be making more Siege videos now that I'm playing the game again. I just took a break for a season or two when the new Battlefield and the new COD came out, but now I'm back to this game. I like it a lot. I'm going to be making a lot more Siege videos.